Nerazzurri fans from all over the world, welcome to the Interglobe for Torino-Inter 0-2. I'm wearing today a t-shirt, I just realized, with the colors of Torino, not because I cheer for them, but it's just a coincidence. What a game. It wasn't easy at all to come back after one of the best matches of the history of the Champions League, because mentally you for sure feel a bit discharged, and that's why Inzaghi opted for a massive turnover. And I have to say that the team delivered. It's incredible for me to see how words can affect the reputation and the feelings of people in general, because if it was for words, Inter would have already left the fight for Serie A ages ago, because all the media is saying that Napoli already won, that we delivered the Serie A championship in the hands of Conte with our ties and losses. Yet we are here 2 games from the end and 1 point behind, so everything is really open. Thanks to Genoa, of course, and to Patrick Vieira. But this is just a lesson for me. Words mean nothing. Words are nothing, really. And it's actually so detrimental and so dangerous to listen to them. So honestly, if I was the coach of Inter, I would prohibit social media and newspapers and everything related to media for my players, because the risk of getting affected and believing in what the media says is really too strong. And honestly, there's no positive aspect in it. No positive aspect, because even when they praise you, the risk of feeling a bit flattered and thus performing under par is also concrete. So just a lesson to learn. Let's get to the game, Torino-Inter. We start with, as I was saying, a massive turnover, and the game already is conducted properly by our squad, and we score pretty soon with an immense play by Zalewski. He controls with the heel, and then he shoots a wonderful shot with his right foot, and we get the advantage on a very, very tough pitch, which is made even tougher by the elements, because there was rain since the beginning, and it became harder and harder, to the point that at the end of the first half, the game risked to be rescheduled and suspended. Thankfully, it didn't. But anyway, we scored this first goal, and then we miss a couple of occasions. And at the end of the first half, Martinez makes a miracle on a header by Adams, and that's really like a crucial save, because I'm not sure what would have happened had Torino died. And then we get in the second half, and luckily we score right away with a good play from Taremi, launched by Di Marco with a nice assist, and then with the penalty that Aslani transforms, also with quite good personality. Then it's an open game still, because we don't score the third goal. We miss a couple of occasions, especially with Correa. But Torino doesn't manage to reopen the game, also because Inzaghi puts in little by little all the starting lineup players, from Barella to Dumfries, from Acerbi to Chala, and so we bring home the match with a 2-0, which turns out to be a golden result, especially because of what happens a bit later in Naples. Let's have a look at the players. Martinez, 7 minus 7, because that save he made is like a goal, and because he made that save on a 1-0 situation, so it was really decisive. The minus is because he doesn't manage the ball with his feet in a safe way. Couple of times he risked too much, This idea of building the plays from the goalie requires definitely a little ability and confidence in risking when you can, but you just cannot go over a certain level of risk, and he went over this certain level of risk at least twice. So that's something he needs to fix, because it can be very costly. But other than that, the save was amazing, and he also injured De Vrij in the first half by not coming out of his goal in the usual way he does, which is successful, but he was totally out of time, out of sync with the play, and that's why he gets this minus, so 7 minus for Martinez, but all in all a positive performance. Bissek 6, he just managed his territory wisely. He was coming back from the game that he played with Barcelona, so it was not easy for him, but he managed to bring home a pretty good performance, so it's a 6 for him. Then we have De Vrij, 6.5. He played well in general. When he was pushed to the wing, he kind of showed his lack of speed, because a couple of Torino players went by him pretty easily, but in general in defense he played well, so it's a 6.5. Bastoni is a 6.5 as well. He also had a couple of misses, one in particular that was very dangerous in defense, which is not the first time for him, but all in all he gave always the impression of being on top of the game, of being very elegant despite the weather conditions, so it's a 6.5 for him. Darmian is a 6, the usual Darmian that we see, who plays confidently and very focused, so he brings home a 6. Zalewski, best man on the pitch, so it's a 7 plus. 7 plus because of the goal he scored, 7 plus because of the fact that he was playing for the first time in a new role for him in the middle of the midfield and not on the wing as usual. And honestly, I think he played really well, not only because of the goal, but because of his technical capabilities. So I think I much rather see him there than on the wing, where he's a bit weak physically to sustain that sort of role. I think he can give his best when he's closer to the goal and when he doesn't have to go up and down from box to box. So I think this is again an interesting invention, let's say, from Inzaghi. So it's a 7 plus, actually 7.5. I want to give him 7.5 because he, again, talking about words and how words can let you down, he's been criticized quite a bit by even Inter bloggers on the web because of his lack of impact on the game. Many opinion leaders and commentators are saying that he's a bit light for the role, but he deserves that he can be impactful and decisive indeed. So it's a 7.5 for Zalewski. Aslani, 7 minus. Nothing special in terms of distribution of the ball and in terms of finding nice angles for the build-ups of the plays, but very solid in defense. He got a yellow card and he managed not to get a yellow. And also I have to say that he was very good in transforming the penalty, which is not something to be taken for granted, especially with this sort of weather. I was surprised that he shot without raising the ball from the ground, because with that weather, we've seen it in the first half, the ball risks to just stop in puddles on its way to the goal, so thankfully he didn't. But it's anyway a good performance from Aslani. Zielinski 5 plus. I mean, we expect much more from him and he didn't do anything noticeable in the match, honestly. So it's just a 5 plus for him. Only one player did worse, which is of course our friend Correa. Carlos Augusto is a 6. Just easy management of the match without many peaks. Taremi, it's a 6.5 because he got us a penalty by reading the play very well and running towards the goal with the right timing in the right space. So It's not the first time, as we've said recently. He's been playing very well, Champions League mostly, but I think that yesterday's match was performed very well also in terms of Serie A. So he's growing. He's growing little by little. 6.5. He got us the penalty, and he also had another couple of good plays. One was the bicycle kick, even though I think it was an offside, but a nice reaction time. And also he distributed the ball, and he performed as a nice liaison, a bridge between midfield and attack. So I liked the way he played yesterday, and he played the whole match, which was really tough yesterday because of the rain. So 6.5, pretty good. Correa is a 5. It's a 5. You can't miss that goal that he missed in the second half that would have closed the game. You have to do the scavetto, like do a little lob over there. When you have this huge goalkeeper coming towards you, you can't just hit it the way he did. And then with the header later on Taremi's nice assist as well, you have to just do better there. It's a 5, it's a player that I'm so happy to see going after this season. He just is not impactful. Talking about impact, he doesn't give assists, he doesn't score. The guy is just too light, too weak, both physically and psychologically to play in our team, and is more of a burden than an opportunity. So 5+, just because, the plus as an encouragement, but there's nothing to encourage, honestly. He's out of the Champions League list, so he should be giving us a lot in Serie A, but he's not. So 5+. Inzaghi 7.5, because again, not easy to motivate the team to come on the pitch from the first minute and play the way they played. It was the first time that we had this starting lineup, so he was very good in telling people what their tasks were. So I could see him on the sideline, always focused and full of grit and encouragement and determination. So these are things that are really valuable. 7.5. And it turned out that this victory done before the match of Naples was really, really important, because, again, maybe Napoli will still be able to win, but definitely not today. Not today. It reminded me of Hulk Hogan in the 80s, when he was almost down, but then he was lifting up his arm. I did already a video about this in the past, but anyway, not today. And so all in all, a big applause for this group of men that is writing the history of soccer in Italy and in Europe lately. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please punch the like button, make a comment, leave a comment. I love to comment and to answer to each of them, and thank you so much for watching. As always, Forza Magica Inter. Amala!